Good morning, YouTube. This is my first ever YouTube video. I've been posting personal development content for a little over a year now on TikTok, but I thought I'd go ahead and take that leap of faith and take it to YouTube. It's a great morning here in Orlando, Florida. Got a coffee. We got a nice little scenic view. Been doing some deep work, some studying for a few hours now. Just been journaling. Had some morning thoughts. I kind of thought I'd come on here and just yap to y'all. So what I'm going to be talking about is perspective-based thinking. One of the quotes that kind of changed my perspective in this life is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. Now think about that. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. It is super easy to fixate on everything negative in your life, everything not going well in your life. But what does that cause? That causes you to be negative. It doesn't magnify any positive or growth in your life. For example, if you're in a shitty situation, you have a shitty boss, you have a shitty spouse, whatever it is, if you constantly focus on just the negative in your life and you don't capitalize on opportunities and pretty much just optimism in your life, you'll never be able to grow anywhere. I think it just makes you just so negative as a person if you're just never optimistic about literally anything. One thing I definitely do believe in is that your thoughts are your beliefs and your beliefs are reality. So if you're constantly consuming negative media, negative friends, negative family, whatever it is, you are inevitably going to become negative because your thoughts are your beliefs and your beliefs are reality. So if you're constantly thinking negative, consuming negative, then that kind of becomes your belief. You're kind of just a negative person overall, which becomes reality. Inevitably, if you consume negative and are around negative people all the time, you are going to become negative. And I think it's just the downfall of so many different relationships because they get around people who just complain about everything that's not going well in their life compared to everything that is going well. Another kind of perspective-based thinking is nobody forces you to do anything in this life. Well, for a majority of the cases, nobody puts a gun to your head and says every single morning you have to wake up and work that job. Nobody's doing that. You choose to do it. And what you don't say no to, you choose. And I mean that from the heart because my coach in college football, he kind of taught me, like, you choose to be here. You choose to be at these meetings. You choose to come to practice. So it's easy to, like, I guess just be so negative about, oh, I have to go to work out at 5 a.m. or whatever it is. But here's the reality. You're choosing to do that. Like, nobody is forcing you to do it. So at the end of the day, it is so easy to complain about everything. Like, oh, like, I have to get up early for work. I have to do this. I have to work out. I have to go through a tough workout. You are choosing that. Like, literally nobody is putting a gun to your head every single day and saying you have to do that. So consider the impact that you have. Like, realize that you might be the reason that you are in the position you are in today because you are choosing it. One thing I definitely live by is that hard times makes hard people. Now, what does that mean? You know, there's like that famous saying, iron sharpens iron. But I think tough times definitely do create tough people, 100%. Well, it can, for sure. There's kind of this scientific study. I'm not too familiar with it, but I heard it once that goes, your body doesn't know how to distinguish stress. It knows when stress is coming, but it doesn't know like what it is. So for example, let me elaborate on this before I get cooked in the comments. For example, say you are going through a really bad hardship and something really bad just happened to somebody close to you. Your body's super stressed out. You're like, what the hell is going on? I don't know how to just control my emotions. And then on the other side of things, say you're going through like a really tough workout. You're in a training session and you're just hit with so much adversity. You're just like, feel like you're about to die. You're like, what is going on? Your body interprets the stress levels the same. So say you're like on your 12th rep and you're like, you literally can't do it. And you can't do it. Your body's just stressed. It's just like over exhilarated pretty much. And your body, it just is so super stressed out. But on the flip side of things, whenever you do go through some hardships in your life and something bad happens in your life, if you're used to being kind of in those shitty situations where your body's stressed out, your body can kind of just react better and be used to kind of those stress levels and being used to kind of being in adversity, if that makes sense. That doesn't mean be stressed out all the time, but that means just seek discomfort. I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you can only grow from like controlled kind of stress levels. So say working out, going for a hard run, going for a conditioning test, whatever it is, doing things like that just kind of builds you as a person to when hard times do come in your life, you're ready for them and you can take them on head on. one thing I definitely do believe in, again, is there's no such thing as something for nothing. Actually, this book, Think and Grow Rich, I have right now, says that. And say just hypothetically you have a shitty job. I believe that there's no such thing as something for nothing. You can always take something from any given situation, no matter how negative or positive it is. So say you have a shitty job, maybe that forces you to learn a high value income skill so you can become more valuable and not have to work a shitty job like that. That happened with me, myself. I was working a dishwashing job and I said, oh my gosh, I gotta do something about this. I either gotta get my education, I gotta learn a high value income skill. I gotta have some type of value in this life so I'll never have to work a job like that again. Maybe it's a shitty spouse and you're like, maybe I need to improve as a person so I don't attract people like that into my life to where I have to deal with people like that. So no matter how good or bad the situation is, you can always take something from any given situation. And on the flip side of things, if somebody is super positive all the time, you're like, man, maybe I need to be more like Joe. Joe is super positive, super optimistic. I need to be more like him. And you can always take something from any given situation. The last thing I will definitely finish off here is never tell anybody they're wrong. It is super, super hard, but you have to realize you have to agree to disagree. In this life, especially like after the age of 20 something, people's kind of beliefs, ideologies, and narratives are really, really, really hard to change. So say you're just talking about some religion, politics, money, whatever it is, the 3 no-nos. You start talking about that, trying to sway somebody's perspective in kind of a condescending way will just be the downfall of your relationship. Because at the end of the day, who are you to say that you're right? Obviously there is ignorance and there's just obvious, we can't even go down that way. But there's, some situations where there's right versus wrong. But like, who are you to tell a Democrat that they're right and then that a Republican that they're wrong? Or vice versa. Because at the end of the day, it makes sense in their head. Just as much as it makes sense in your head to believe what you believe, it makes sense in their head that they believe what they believe. So when it comes to relationships and people in your life, you're talking about the 3 big no-nos, politics, religion, and money. Never tell them they're wrong. Say you can agree to disagree. Because at the end of the day, trying to change someone's perspective, it's just so tough. And you don't even want to go up that uphill battle because then it becomes ego versus ego and becomes an argument. And a lot of people are closed-minded. A lot of people say they are open-minded, but a lot of people nowadays are very, 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 very closed-minded. And if it doesn't align with their kind of beliefs or their narrative, it's just, you're wrong, I'm right. So try to avoid those conversations, but if they do ever come up, just remember, never tell somebody they're wrong. Hear them out, because a lot of people don't feel heard. Whatever they believe in, it doesn't matter what they believe in. You can always lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink it. So definitely don't push and force somebody to drink the Kool-Aid or whatever you can say. So pretty much, you got to go all in on just realizing that they are subject to their own beliefs and you are subject to your own. So who are you to say that they're right or they're wrong, pretty much. So it's kind of my morning yap. It's a great day out here. I'm going to go ahead and grind out some more work. First YouTube video in the books.